I am pleased to welcome and acknowledge presence of Mr. Ronak Soni, who is DGM at Zeppelin, Vadodara, India. I also welcome Professor Amish Vyas, who is Dean School of Engineering, Dr. Siddhant Patel, who is Assistant Professor at IU. Again, Dr. Alok Tripathi, he is again with IU, and the entire gamut of audience. Industrial University has been very sensitive towards the contemporary trends in chemical industry because we are offering here chemical engineering program as well. So it's a golden opportunity for all of us that we have an experienced person from chemical industry, Mr. Ronak Soni. He's an alumni of IIT Mumbai, having rich experience, and he is now going to discuss a session on opportunity introduction of simulation software in chemical industry. So now, without further much ado, I invite Dr. Vyas to give the introductory comment and kickstart this. Before that, I just, apologies. I would like to share the flow of event. We'll begin with the opening remarks from Dr. Vyas, which will be followed by Dr. Siddhant Patel's introduction of IU for the audience. As well, he will, as a matter of courtesy, will introduce the uh, speaker today, that is Ronak Soni, sir. And then it will be the session, expert session from Dr. Ronak Soni. And this will followed by question answer sessions. So question answer sessions can be dropped in the chat box, preferably in Q&A box. So over to Vyas sir for the opening remarks.
Thank you, Navratha madam, and good afternoon to one and all who joined this session. I think it is a very important session and very timely session because in this COVID era, when people are not at the work, they cannot go full-fledged at full capacity on their workplace. Automation is taking place very widely. Maybe computer engineering is also helping in getting this automation done smoothly, and this transition can be done smoothly. But at the same time, the role of chemical engineer in adopting this automation is also very important. The softwares are available, but most of the softwares are like black box. So you don't know, input is available to you, output is available to you, but you don't know what is happening there. And second thing, how to operate, how to use this software, which are the softwares that applicable at industry level or at academic level. So Mr. Soni, Mr. Ronak Soni is having a very wide experience. He has worked at Tata Newell also. So he knows the importance of such software. At the same time, he also aware about the use of this software. And the most of the companies like Jubilant or Accenture or Wipro or Infosys, you name any IT company, they hire chemical engineer too. The reason being, the chemical engineer has to solve the bottleneck issues and projects of chemical industry using this software at the same time with the help of the IT person. So you have to be skillful in the operation of such software, and it is very much essential in this new normal condition. So this is a very timely topic, and we are discussing on the introduction of software for chemical industry. And a very right person, DGM Zeppelin Systems Private Limited, who is handling number of consultancy projects in the area of design and are very much involved academically also with number of other institutes in delivering such kind of lectures on simulation, modeling, and thermodynamics. These are his area of expertise, what I believe. So I wish all the participants to attend it very cautiously, attend it very attentively, and learn out of this lecture. So wish you all the best.
Thank you, Dr. Vyas, for setting up the beautiful context of this and the importance of simulation and software simulations in chemical industry. It's going forward. I now invite Dr. Siddhant Patel, who will be introducing Industrial University in brief, in nutshell. As well, he will share the credentials of Mr. Ronak Soni, the speaker for today's session. Over to Dr. Siddharth.
Thank you, ma'am. Good afternoon, everyone. I hope my slides are visible to
Yeah.
everyone. Yeah, just give me one moment. Okay. Uh, I would like to take opportunity here to welcome one and all you to welcome to our Intersil University. Our Intersil University is basically found in the memory of our chairman and founder of this university, Dr. Rajiv Modi's parents, that is Indravadan Modi and Sheilabin. Those were who founded this Cadila Pharmaceuticals Limited, and they started this Cadila Pharmaceuticals capitalized as a multinational company, and it is having across the country they are dealing with the pharmaceuticals APIs and drugs. Right? So same philosophy is here for industry, sorry, our university, that we want to continue that Cadila legacy in our university, and we want to be hallmark in a global academic experience. And as a proof of that, first we would like to share our journey. As you can see here, in 1951, the Cadila was started, and in 2021, I think everyone knows what is the Cadila Pharmaceuticals. Same as in 2016, we just took over from a Saraswati Education Trust, and we started our we commenced our educational initiative. In 2018, we started our university, and now we are as a deemed university and mainly governed by Cadila Pharmaceuticals, our founder chairman, Dr. Raju Modi. Now, in 2019, just in the span of 1 year, we obtained this Atal Incubation Center, which is basically for funding projects and I think what innovative projects. Then, in continuation with that, this is from Indian government. In continuation with that, we in next year we got this student startup innovation cell from our Gujarat government, and partnership with the Intersil Innovation Foundation. So basically, in a small span, we have achieved many things, and hopefully, we'll achieve more things as the Cadila Pharmaceuticals has achieved, because DNA is same. None institute can move forward without a mentor, and we are lucky enough that we do have a mentor who has achieved many things in his life, and he's still guiding us with his wisdom. That is none other than Dr. J.S. Yadav, and he has achieved many what you say awards in his life, but such as this Patnakari award, JS was National Fellow. So these are the prestigious award which only few people may achieve, and he is like having 150 patents and many PhD students. So he is with us and he's guiding us. Under his guidance, we are progressing. Basically, we are offering bachelor's courses in School of Engineering and the School of Science. We are offering BSc and MSc course for chemistry and biosciences. And in engineering, we are offering computer science. In computer science, we are also offering this dual degree course. We have collaboration with international universities. And in BTech Chemical and Biochemical Engineering, we are offering, and we are also offering BTech Mechanical Engineering along with PhD in all three branch. And here also in School of Science, we are offering PhD in all these branches. In a short span, we have already had MOU with three different universities. One is Sacred Heart University, SHU, and we are offering dual degree along with them in BTech Computer Science. We do have also collaboration with Tuskegee University. These both are USA based, and we have also collaboration with the Newcastle University, which is Australia based. We have recently commenced this post-graduation diploma course in environmental health and safety, and we are about to commence this hospital administration course as well from this year. So these two new course we are offering, and the first batch is also going on for this environment health and safety course. We do have the university should have a state of the art facility, and we do have state of the art facility. These are our computer laboratories. These are our chemical and biochemical engineering laboratories, and these are for mechanical laboratories. These are the glimpse of laboratories, right? And we do have science laboratories as well, and we do have R&D laboratories, and prestigious equipment, which I think normal NITs artists can also not afford. That is the new NMR. I think many of you might know about this nuclear magnetic resonance equipment, and it is a very costly equipment. We can say 5 crores around equipment, and our university is having that, and we are giving opportunity to our students as well to explore such kind of facilities, and they can work upon it. They can learn the technologies, and they can excel in their future. So, as I mentioned earlier, we do have two startup innovation programs. One is Atal Incubation Center, and second is the Student Startup Innovation. So, one is from Indian government, national government. One is from the state government. We also do have some academia linkage, industry academia linkage, and our course and everything is designed based on inputs from this our academia partners. And we are also sending our students time to time for internship as well. And we are also taking input from them and industrial visit. We are doing everything to have our academia industrial linkage so that our student can be industry ready at a time when they leave our institute. These are our contact details, and that's all from my side for presentation point of view.
Thank you, Dr. Siddhant, for briefing about Industrial University. And it is imperative and a courtesy to share the credentials of the speaker today. So I again invite you to continue with the credentials of Ronak Soni, sir.
Yeah. Thank you, ma'am. I think there is no introduction required for Dr. Mr. Ronak Soni. He's right now, but he's actually very dynamic person in the we can say process safety and this simulation field. Mr. Ronak Soni is right now currently working as a unit head for Engineering and Services Competence Center at the Zeppelin in India. He's as ma'am suggested, he's former alumni of IIT Bombay, and he is having almost more than 16 years of experience, industrial experience. Along with he has also worked as a lecturer in Nirma University. So I guess he's the right person to, like, he has also the essence of teaching, and he has also essence of industry as well. So he's the right person to lead us and guide us for this software utilization in the field. He has also previously worked with Honeywell, SR, and multinational companies. And right now his expertise, we can say, as Mr. Earlier suggested, process simulation, process integration, and process safety, and simulation software. This is his what we say expertise in the field. So not wasting much more time, I would give the stage to our speaker, and the more we can get from him, the more will be fruitful for everyone else. So sir, now I'll hand over the session to you.
Thank you, Dr. Siddharth.
Sorry to interrupt, sir. Just an introduction. We are connected with Mr. Abhinand Pandya, who is project head at Industrial University. So, Abhinand sir, are you able to hear us? Yeah, just to
Thank you,
introduce
and
the speaker today.
my most heartiest welcome to Mr. Ronak Soni sir for sparing his time and giving his valuable feedback in such an important topic for simulation. In today's world, when I look at a lot of software which has come up, which are able to find out which kind of ROS is required in some chemicals through software debug. That's where the industry is going. When you are merging chemical with algo and trying to come up with a lot of things. And I will not like to hold back his time. Thank you to Ronak Soni sir. We would like you to have more time with us and more insight from your brain to our students. Thank you.
Thank you.
Pandya, sir.
So, Soni sir, the floor is all yours now.
Yeah, thank you so much. Siddharth, do I have a screen share rights?
Yeah, I guess you might have. And is there any option you are seeing share screen? Yeah. Yeah, perfect. We can see your screen. Sir, just let me brief you. If you are going to jump into the screen, like if you are going back to the software, then you have to stop share again. Either you can do the entire screen. So whenever you will jump into the screens, so both will be visible. Otherwise, every time you have to stop share and you have to again go back. You have to again share it.
Right. I will start with the presentation, then I stop sharing and again go to the software
Okay.
and share the screen.
Okay.
No
Okay. Sir. Nice. Thank you.
So once again, thank you very much, Vyas sir, Namrata madam, Dr. Siddhant, Pandya sir, all the faculties of Industrial University for giving me opportunity to present the introduction of simulation software in chemical industries. Now, before I start the presentation, let me brief you regarding our our present company profile. So we are into a chemical plant design, and we work on client's problem definition. So it starts from revamping the existing unit to a design of entire greenfield project. And while we carry out the design of a plant, it comprising of the process design, which is generally being done by a chemical engineer, and which is followed by equipment design, where we require the help of a mechanical engineer who do the strength calculation to calculate the thickness of the vessel, thickness of the top end, dish end, thickness of the bottom, so on and so forth. We require the help of a piping engineer, again, who are either a mechanical engineer or a chemical engineer, who develop the entire plot plan, where to put the production building, where to design the utility systems, where to put a warehouses, how to route the pipe racks, to connect the various units, and where to put a administration building, security, so various plant and non-plant things. Also, we are into the electrification, where starting from receiving the power from the state board or a private sector to a transformer, power control unit center design, motor control center design, to a cable routing to individual motor drivers, as well as instrumentation, where we design the PLC system, DCS systems. We prepare the specifications for various instruments like on-off valve, control valve, safety valves, pressure transmitter, flow transmitter, temperature transmitter, level transmitter, as well as gauges. And we are also into a civil structure and architect design, where we design the entire civil building or a structural building. We develop the architectural drawing of that particular building. And you can also carry out HVAC system design. We design building where a certain percentage of humidity is maintained, or a clean class is maintained, or a human comfort is maintained. So we give the services of the plant, and design, we have to use a various softwares for designing of the chemical plant. In these various softwares, specifically for the chemical engineer or for the process engineers who are carrying out the conceptual design, they are using two major software. One is basically a simulation software, for which today's session has been finalized, and second is basically a thermal rating software, where thermal rating is being carried out. Like
So sorry to interrupt you. Your slides are not changing.
I have yet not changed my slide.
Okay. Sorry.
So the second is basically a thermal design software, where we have to carry out a design of various heat transfer equipments or heat exchangers. Apart from this, while developing the various types of process engineering drawings, and mainly the drawing is a piping and instrumentation diagram, which is called as a P&ID diagram, which is one of the most important document to develop by a chemical engineer. So for that also we are using state-of-the-art software. The softwares which are available in the market are like COMOS software, SPPID software. These are the softwares which are being used. Also carry out the pressure drop calculation or a line loss calculations. We are using a different kind of software. We do use our in-house software, as well as in the market a software called PipeNet is available, where we can carry out the hydraulic calculation or pressure drop calculations. Now, our today's session is limited to a simulation software for carrying out a chemical plant design. Now, before we start discussing on these simulation software, or before I give a demonstration of the simulation software, let us briefly discuss regarding how these softwares were developed. So this development of simulation software started in 1970s. Before 70s, believe me, the people are doing a manual calculations, and based on that manual calculations, they are putting up the entire plant. But in 70s, basically how this software developed. So at that time in 70s, the scientists across the world, they came together, and they decided that let me quantify the amount of energy which is available on the earth. Now, when we talk about 1970s, so at that time, only one source of energy was available, and that is a fossil fuel. So from the fossil fuel, basically they are extracting kerosene, petrol, diesel, naphtha, which are various energy sources, and using these energy sources, the industries are running, household electricity is getting available, as well as the automobiles are also developing. Now, for carrying out the amount of energy available, what they did, they quantify how much amount of fossil fuel is available under the earth crust. After the quantification, they develop a formula to quantify from this amount of fossil fuel how much amount of petrol we can extract, how much amount of diesel we can extract, how much amount of naphtha we can extract, how much amount of kerosene we can extract. After getting this data of availability of various types of fossil fuel or various types of energy sources, the second side, what they did, they projected that in 70s, this is basically an industrial growth and this is a demand of energy to run the industry. As years passes, definitely the demand of energy sources will increase as the industry will grow. So they projected the consumption pattern of these various energy sources, and then they calculated, okay, we have this fixed amount of petrol available with us. Now, how much next year this petrol can work? How many next years our diesel can work? How much next year kerosene is available? And after this calculations, they published a paper across the globe. Believe me, when that paper was available across the globe in 70s, the entire globe, the entire world was shocked. Why? Because they found that we have a very limited amount of petrol which can work for next 50 or 60 years. We have very limited amount of diesel which can work for next 80 years. We have very limited amount of kerosene which can work for next 70 years. So when they published this paper across the globe, the scientists or the researchers or the engineers across the globe, they started thinking of how to reduce the consumption of these various energy sources. So at that time, basically two different group of people, they started working in two different directions. One group of people who were the optimistic people, they working in process more energy efficient. So by making process more energy efficient, this amount of the energy sources which are available can for a longer period of time. The second group of people who thought that, okay, we have a very limited amount of the energy sources which are available. Why not to find out some alternative energy sources, some non-conventional energy sources, and we started working on the solar energy, geothermal energy, so on and so forth. Now, in these two groups, the first group, which is more optimistic, who wants to make some process more energy efficient, in that group, a person called Sir Bourdieu, he developed a technology which is called as a process integration, and the purpose of this process integration is to optimize the energy. It is basically an energy optimization tool. Now, when this paper was published, a professor of Massachusetts Institute of Technology, MIT professor, he reviewed the paper and he found one interesting thing in this paper. The paper, we have very limited amount of petrol, diesel, kerosene, naphtha, but there is a amount of coal which is available, which will not work for the decades, but can work for the centuries. So he got an idea to develop a small simulation software, and that software is only based on coal combustion. It is based on a coal combustion process. Now we are talking about the era of 1970s, and at that time, basically two programming languages were available. One is a Pascal and second is a Fortran. Now, this MIT professor decided that we use Fortran as a tool or a language to develop the software. So, with the help of the he developed a small simulation software where only one operation can be carried out. Operation. Now, after developing the simulation software, they presented the simulation software in one of the international conference. I presented this paper, or while they demonstrated this software in the international conference, a representative of a company called Aspen was available in that presentation. me brief you regarding the Spentech. In India, we have a BSE, Bombay Stock Exchange, or NSE. This for NSE SENSEX is governed by a few selected companies. For example, if all the companies' prices or the share prices are increasing, but all of a sudden, if Reliance share prices decreases, then though there is an appreciation in the market, but as Reliance share price decreases, the market will go down. So Reliance Industry is one of the company which governs the Sensex. Similarly, in US, like we have a BSE, in US for Dow Jones. And this Spentech company is a Dow Jones listed company, which is one of the Sensex of US market. So basically, Spentech is a big shop, and the representative of Spentech was present during this demonstration software. So he found this very interesting and immediately rushed to the professor of MIT, and he purchased the entire module from the professor. And then Spentech started developing this simulation software, professional simulation software, hiring a good chemical and hiring a good software engineers. And after development of the software, they launched a first simulation software with the name of Spentech in 1970s. So in 1970s, only one language was available, and two languages were available, and the selected language is Fortran. So entire Aspen Plus initially was developed with Fortran language. When it came to 80s, at that time, C and C++ languages were in the. So Spentech converted all of programs written in the Fortran language into C++ language. Even today also, if you Aspen Plus, then all the routines are written in C++ language. In 90s, basically the refinery business was booming. And why refinery business was booming? Because there is a huge demand of energy because of the in the industrialization or a huge growth in the industries. So for Hyprotech, they started working on simulation software. So basically, Aspen Plus software developed with a Fortran language and later on converted to C++. They started their development in 1970s. They converted their programming language in 1980s. And by 1990s, this software becomes a huge software, and the consultant, a big organization, started working with this simulation software, and they found it very handy and very useful tool for various complex chemical engineering applications. So after that, in 90s, they found that the refinery business was booming. So they developed a simulation software with the name of IC plant, focusing on refinery and hydrocarbon processes, but also some of the generic chemical plant design can also be carried out in plant simulation software. The fortunate for the Hyprotech company is that during 90s, visual was available. So they developed the entire code using Visual Basic language. And if you are a software or the programming language savvy, then you must know that the visual that's called as a language, that is called as the object-oriented language. And they develop the entire software using this Visual Basic platform. The software becomes too friendly with the user. If not software, it is when they launch and people started working with this simulation software on a test basis, they found that it provides a better graphical user interface compared to Aspen Plus. It is more user interactive compared to Aspen Plus, and it is more stable compared to Aspen software. So again, plant simulation software launched in 1990s with a programming language of Visual Basic. It provides a better graphical user interface. It is a very handy tool and very user-friendly simulation software. But again, which was started their development in 1970s. By
Yeah, just wait for a second. I think sir's network is not working properly. I'll just connect with sir and I'll come back.
In the meantime, those who want to have any questions can, drop in the Q&A box and chat box. Sir,
yeah,
yes, sir, you are audible.
I think presentation is also visible.
No, sir, not yet.
No, not yet.
1 minute. Is it visible?
Sir, it is yet to.
It's coming.
Okay. So Namrata madam, now is it visible?
No, sir, not yet,
No,
sir.
sir.
It's maybe because of slow. Yeah, now it is visible. Yes, sir.
Okay. So basically, HYSYS.plant has inherent some of the advantages over SPEN Plus software, but SPEN Plus again is a huge software which provides a huge capability in terms of the various thermodynamic options which are available in the software. So now the remaining part is very interesting. When Hyprotech launched HYSYS.plant software, the people started working with HYSYS.plant simulation software over SPEN Plus. So slowly the SPEN Plus market went down and people started purchasing HYSYS.plant as one of the better options compared to SPEN Plus. Now again, SPENTech is a big shot. So what they did, they immediately rushed to Hyprotech and they purchased entire HYSYS.plant simulation software from Hyprotech company, and they started selling this software with the name of SPEN Hyprotech HYSYS.plant. They started selling this software with the name of SPEN Hyprotech HYSYS.plant software, and later on it becomes a SPEN HYSYS simulation software. So today, if you are going to purchase this HYSYS software, it is always with the name of SPEN HYSYS. Now, the interesting part here is in 2005, a company called Honeywell, they purchased 38% stakes of UOP. We all know that UOP is a big shot in the refinery business. They have n number of patents. They are a big licensor for various refinery operations. So Honeywell purchased HYSYS.plant simulation software from SPENTech company, and they started selling this software with the name of Unisim. What I mean to say, either we call Unisim or SPEN HYSYS or a Hyprotech HYSYS, all these three simulation softwares, the basic themes are same. Only thing is that if you know SPEN HYSYS, you know Unisim, you know Hyprotech HYSYS. If you know Hyprotech HYSYS, you know how to work with SPEN HYSYS or how to work with the Unisim simulation software. Later on, Unisim started adding few modules of UOP, like UOP is a licensor for the desulfurization technology, fluidized catalytic cracking technology, hydrotrating units. So they started adding the modules of these all units. Modules means in terms of mathematical models or mathematical equations, they started adding into simulation software to differentiate it from SPEN HYSYS, SPEN Hyprotech HYSYS software. What SPEN did, they approached the competitor of UOP and they started adding the modules of the competitor of UOP. Like suppose if I'm working in a Reliance refinery and my hydrotrator is supplied by a UOP, and if I want to purchase some kind of a simulation software, and if two options are available, one is a SPEN HYSYS, second is a Unisim Honeywell, my preference should go to Unisim Honeywell. Reason is that in Unisim Honeywell, I can get the exact module of UOP who are supplying a hydrotreater. And if in a Reliance I am purchasing a hydrotreater from the competitor of UOP, then instead of purchasing Unisim simulation software, which is supplied by Honeywell, who has taken over the UOP company, I should go with a Aspen Tech company or Aspen simulation software. Otherwise, the remaining capabilities, the generic capabilities are same whether you are working with Unisim or whether you are working with Aspen HYSYS. Having said this, there are other simulation softwares which are also available. Those are with the name of ChemCAD. The ChemCAD is a product of ChemStation, which is basically a US-based company, or Pro2 or Design2, which are also available in the market for carrying out various simulation activities. So this is basically an introduction of a simulation software. And now let us see the application of the simulation software and the difference between a steady state and dynamic simulation. Now, for your knowledge, basically, why do we use a simulation software? Simulation softwares are being used for carrying out a material balance and energy balance while designing a chemical plant. Material balance and energy balance, what I mean to say is, what is the amount of material which is transferring from one equipment to another equipment? What is the amount of material which is being processed within an equipment? What is the amount of energy which is being consumed within an equipment? Or what is the amount of energy which is being discarded during the operation? That is basically called as a material balance and energy balance. This material balance, energy balance information is very, very important while we design a plant. And other than that, there are other applications of this simulation software, which we see in the successive slides. But before that, whether you purchase Unisim software or whether you purchase Aspen HYSYS software, basically they are selling out two modules of this software. One is called as a steady state module, and second is called as a dynamic module. What is a steady state module and which are the applications of steady state module that we are going to discuss, and what is a dynamic and what are the applications of dynamic simulation that we are going to discuss. So first is a steady state. We all know the definition of steady state processes. The process in which all the parameters remains constant with respect to time, we call it as a steady state. We call it as a steady state process. For example, if you are running a plant, suppose you are a plant operator, and during your shift, if your plant distillation column top temperature is steady, in your plant your feed rate are steady, in your plant the pressure profiles across various equipments are steady, then we can say that my plant is running smoothly or my plant is running in a steady state mode. Suppose during your shift, all of a sudden, if your feed pump trips because of some mechanical failure, now if there is no feed, what will happen? The moment there is no feed, feed which is available to be processed across various equipments, automatically the levels across the equipment will go down. So now levels are changing with respect to time. Because of level goes down, there is a more vapor space available, hence the pressure across various equipments will also go down. It will also disturb the temperature profile. It will also disturb the flow profile. So this is basically a disturbance, or this is basically called as a dynamic situation. Using this simulation software, we can carry out a steady state simulation as well as we can carry out a dynamic simulation. Mathematically, the basic difference between steady state simulation and dynamic simulation is when we develop a mathematical model of a steady state processes, all the equations becomes algebraic equations. But when we develop a mathematical model for the dynamic processes, basically dynamic process means the parameters are changing with respect to time. For example, if it is a flow, then the flow changes with respect to time, that is df by dt. If it is a temperature, then it changes with respect to time, that is dt by dt. Similarly, dp by dt. Similarly, dl by dt. The level changes with respect to time, or volume by time, that is dv by dt. So in steady state, the equations are algebraic, but the moment we talk about dynamic processes, the equation becomes ordinary differential equation. And when you want to solve ordinary differential equation, you need to take integration. And when you do integration, after the integration, one constant term comes. That constant term makes a dynamic simulation more difficult compared to a steady state simulation, and that we will discuss in the successive slide. So this is basically a basic difference between a steady state and a dynamic simulation. Both the simulations can be carried out using the state-of-the-art software which are available either at HYSYS or Unisim design tools. Now let us see which are the applications of steady-state simulation. Now you are chemical engineers, and many of you wants to work with a company like L&T Chiyoda, L&T Technology, L&T Hydrocarbon, Linde, Samsung, Fluor Daniel, Jacobs, Uday, or maybe our company Zeppelin, or the other companies. These all companies, they are into a chemical plant design. And while you want to design a chemical plant, basically you have to carry out a material balance and energy balance, which can be very efficiently be done while using a steady state module of the simulation software. So the first application or the most important application of the simulation software is carry out the material balance and EB, that is the energy balance. Other than that, yes, the simulation softwares are also used for the energy optimization, energy reduction application, or it can be used for the product specification improvement or product quality improvement. They are partly used for the equipment sizing. They are also being used to extract some of the physical and the thermodynamic properties that we will see when we have a demonstration of simulation software. The application of dynamic simulation software, basically dynamic conditions where the parameters are changing with respect to time. And when the parameters are changing, we can say that there is a disturbance in the plant. And whenever there is a disturbance, we have to suppress that disturbance. And for suppressing the disturbance, what we do, we introduce a control system. For example, to maintain a pressure in the vessel, we provide pressure control valve. To maintain a flow going into the vessel, we provide flow control valve. To maintain the level in the vessel, we provide level control valve. So basically, this level control valve, flow control valve, pressure control valve, they comes into a picture when there is a disturbance in the process. To study the disturbance and to study how effective my control system is, we need to carry out a dynamic simulation, or we need to run the process in a dynamic board. Similarly, to study the safety system, safety relief system, basically we need to carry out a dynamic simulation. The third application is, suppose I have developed a new technology, and that new technology, or based on the recipe of the new technology, I am developing my piping and instrumentation diagram. I am developing I introduce various instrumentation into my piping and instrumentation diagram. Now, how effective my control system is, how effective my safety system is. To study that, we need to carry out a basic engineering in a dynamic mode. That is called as basically a dynamic simulation for validating a basic engineering. And last but the most important application of a dynamic simulation is the operator training simulation, that is called as a OTS. What is this OTS, or operator training simulation? Basically, suppose you want to become a pilot. Will you be allowed to sit on the cockpit and start the flight from the day one? Not possible. What they do? First of all, they have a simulator for the plane where various scenarios are in the plane, and you will be trained on that virtual plane. And after you get that training, then only you will be allowed into the actual flight. Similarly, for the OTS, for example, suppose all of us are getting, all of us have been offered letter from ONGC. Do we think that from day one they will allow us to sit on the DCS and start asking us to run the plant? Not possible. So this OTS, what it do? In this OTS, it's a virtual plant which we need to run. We need to take a startup of the plant. We need to take a shutdown of the plant, as well as we need to take the various abnormal scenarios which are there in the plant. So that training will be given in this OTS module, and once we get trained, then we will be allowed to sit on the DCS and run the plant. So that is the application of this OTS using a dynamic simulation. And the last topic before I start the demonstration of the simulation software is a degree of freedom. Look, friends, previously I told you dynamic simulation is little bit difficult compared to steady state simulation, because in dynamic simulation basically the equations are ordinary differential equation, and when we want to solve any ordinary differential equation we need to take integration, and when we take integration a constant terms will appear, and that constant term will make process more complex in terms of it will increase a degree of freedom. So first of all, what is the definition of degree of freedom? A degree of freedom is basically a difference between number of variables minus number of equations. Very easy. Now here basically I have mentioned 3 equations, but time being you consider only first equation, that is a plus b equals 2. Now only one equation is available, that is a plus b equals 2. What is the answer for a? What is the absolute value for a? Here the value of a could be 0, a value of a could be 1, value of a could be minus 1000, value of a could be minus 0.5, anything. We cannot answer. Here if we consider the first equation, that is a plus b equals 2, how many variables are in this equation? There are 2 variables, a and b. And how many number of equations are there? There is one equation, that is a plus b equals 2. If we take a differentiation or the difference between number of variables and number of equations, that is 2 variables and 1 equation, so the difference is 1. This one difference is degree of freedom, and whenever degree of freedom is more than 0, if a degree of freedom is greater than 0, that type of a mathematical equation or a modeling equations are called as a underdefined equation, or the system is called as a underdefined system. Software cannot work with a underdefined system. Means if only one equation is available, then the software cannot give you answer what is the value of a and what is the value of b. So the first example, if we only consider a plus b equals 2, the system becomes underdefined system, and that is why we cannot get a value of a and b. Means the software will not do any calculations or perform any calculations to solve this problem. Now next you consider first 2 equations, that is a plus b equals 2 and a equals 2. Now what is the value of a? So here the value of a becomes 2, and what is the value of b? The value of b becomes 0. Again, if we consider first 2 equations, then how many number of variables are there? So there are total 2 variables, that those are a and b. And how many number of equations are there? There are 2 equations, that is a plus b equals 2, and the second equation is a equals 2. So here again, if you calculate degree of freedom, which is number of variables minus number of equations, which is 2 minus 2, then it becomes 0. And when degree of freedom becomes 0, that system is called as a fully defined system. And software can work only with a fully defined system. When I say software, it means I am talking about S-Pen, HYSYS, I am talking about Unisim, CAMCAD, Pro2, Designco, or any simulation software. So the first one is an underdefined system when we consider only first equation. The second becomes fully defined system when we consider a pair of 2 equations where the total number of variables are also 2. Now you consider all 3 equations are available, that is a plus b. Now here the number of variables are again a and b, means 2, but the number of equations becomes a plus b equals to 1, a equals to second equation, and b equals 1 third equation. So total number of equations are 3. So number of variables minus number of equations becomes minus 1. So here degree of freedom is minus 1. And whenever degree of freedom is less than 0, that system is known as a over-specified system. We have given more specifications than required, and software cannot work with over-specified system. Software cannot work with an under-specified system. For software to run and to give answer, we have to make sure that we satisfy degree of freedom and make the system fully defined system where number of variables equals number of equations. So this is basically a small theory part which I think I should cover. Any questions? Then we can discuss, or we start a demonstration of a simulation software.
So we can proceed for the software.
Yes. Okay. So basically, I have already loaded SPN-IC simulation software, and we are working with a new case. So I am clicking a new one.
Sir, which version is this?
Is it visible? Basically, I am working with
Yeah, it's-
SPN simulation software.
Okay, version, sir.
It is 10th version.
Okay, thank you, sir.
So now, as we discussed, this simulation software, basically, if you are working with SPN Plus or if you are working with CAMCAD, then these softwares can give you flexibility where you can develop the entire plant flow sheet first, and then you can select which are the chemicals which involved in the flow sheet and which thermodynamic package we need to use while using the simulation software. But if you are working with SPN-IC or if you are working with Unisim simulation software, before we develop a flow sheet, we have to select at least one component which is available in the flow sheet. Component means one chemical which is available in the flow sheet. For example, suppose you are working with a chemical plant where your problem statement is you want to separate out benzene toluene mixture. So what you do, you feed the benzene toluene mixture into some kind of a unit operation. Here, basically, the base suitable unit operation is distillation column. So you feed it into a distillation column, and from distillation column, you will get pure benzene from the top and pure toluene from the bottom. So for this system, basically, there are two components which are involved. One is a benzene and second is a toluene. These two components means two chemicals which are involved. So when we work with Unisim or SPN-IC, basically we have to select at least one component which is available in the flow sheet. Now these components, how can we find? So here you can see a component list, and I click on add button. When I click on add button, you can see here various chemicals which are present: methane, ethane, propane, isobutane, normal butane, normal isopentane, normal pentane, normal hexane, normal heptane, and this list will go on. So basically, there are more than 2,500 generic chemicals which are present, and all are listed here. So based on our requirement, we have to select the correct type of a chemical component. So for example, I am searching for benzene. So I am typing here benzene. So now you can see benzene is present here. So in my flow sheet, one component is benzene. So I will take benzene as one component. I'm sorry. And a second component which is available in the flow sheet is, let's say, toluene. So I am typing toluene here. So now you can find toluene, and I select toluene for my flow sheet. So this is how we can select a component. When we select a component, what additional values, what additional numbers, what additional informations we are selecting, that we will discuss later. So after selecting a component, which is benzene and toluene, So we have selected the components which are available in the flow sheet for preparation of benzene and toluene. Now we have to select correct type of a fluid package. So here we select fluid package and then click on add fluid package. Now basically in our thermodynamics, what kind of a thermodynamic equations we are used to? Generally, we select ideal gas law, or we select Van der Waals equation, or maximum we select a Redlich-Kwong equation. So these are the three equations which we have used during our academics. Here, there are more complex, more accurate equations which are available, which can be selected for the chemical plant design. For example, you can see here, I can select a Peng-Robinson equation. I can select SRK, that is Sauvé-Redlich-Kwong equation. I can select NRTL equation. I can select Wilson equation. I can select Wilson equation. I can select Uniquebec equation, and there are other equations which are also available. And if we have a good knowledge of thermodynamics, we can select a correct type of equation for this simulation. So for benzene toluene, time being, what we do, we select a Peng-Robinson equation of state model for simulation of a benzene toluene system. Now the most interesting part is here. When I click on edit property, now you can see all the properties which are available here. For example, for benzene and toluene, what is the eccentricity value? So for benzene, the eccentricity value is 0.215. For toluene, it is 0.2596. Similarly, we all know that for vapor pressure calculations, we are using N2N equation, and that N2N equation is ln pi set will be equal to ai plus bi upon t plus ci. So this ai, bi, ti, ci values are available here. So you can see a, b, c, and this software will use modify N2N equation, which is not only ln pi set is ai plus bi upon t plus ci, but it also contains d ln ti plus e by ti plus f by ti square, so on and so forth. So you will get all the values of a, b, c, d, e, f for benzene as well as for toluene. Similarly, if I want to see what is the boiling point of benzene and what is the boiling point of toluene, I click on a boiling point, and now I will get a value of benzene boiling point. I can get a value of a toluene boiling point. And here benzene boiling point is lower than toluene boiling point. So if we put up a distillation column, basically we can get benzene from the top of the column and toluene from the bottom of the column. So what we have done so far, we have selected two components. One is a benzene and toluene. There are 2,500 components which are available, and out of that 2,500 components, we have selected two components. And for fluid package, we have selected appropriate fluid package. Time being, we have selected Peng-Robinson equation of state model for simulation of this process. And now we click on a simulation. So here you can see this blank area. This is the area where we can develop our entire flow sheet. And for development of this entire flow sheet, we will select various module palettes. For example, I am selecting one stream. This is basically a material stream which I am selecting and put it here. So the number of this stream is stream number 1. The color of this stream is basically sky blue color. And now I select one, let's say, heater. I put that heater here. Next, what I do, I have selected heater, means heat exchanger. I have selected one stream. I double click on heat exchanger. I will say the inlet will be stream number 1. The energy the heater is getting is named as QC, and the outlet is stream number 2. So if I do that, automatically the flow sheet will develop. You can find stream number 1, which is going into a heater, and the outlet is stream number 2. So this is how, this is one simple example with a one equipment, but we can develop the entire plant in this flow sheet. using what? Using a model palette. So here in model palettes, you can get the example of a heat exchanger. You will find the example of a pump which is available here. You can see a various valves, control valves which are present here. You can see the relief valves which are present here. A storage tank or a vessel or a day tank which is present here. A three-phase separator is also present here. If I want to use compressor, compressor is also present here. And if I want to put up a distillation column, I can put it up. If I want to put up a component splitter, I can add it here. If I want to put a absorber, then I can select the absorber and put it here. If I want to put a reflux absorber where there is no reboiler, only a condenser is present, or reboil absorber. So basically these are various modules which are available, and putting these modules, we can develop the entire flow sheet. Now, I would like to demonstrate a simple example with only a one stream, which shows the capability of this simulation software. So basically, I have selected stream number 1. I double click on this stream number 1 and I change the name of this stream. I will say that instead of 1, the stream name should be feed. The moment I change the name of this stream from stream number 1 to feed, automatically on the screen that stream name will get changed. Next, what I will do, I will say that my feed is present at 50 degrees Celsius and at 150 kilopascal pressure. So I have selected temperature as a 50 degrees Celsius and the pressure as 150 kilopascal. And that stream flow rate is, let's say, 10,000 kg per hour. So I have selected stream flow rate as 10,000 kg per hour. So far what I have defined? I have defined the temperature of the stream. I have defined the pressure of the stream. I have defined the mass flow rate of the stream. Next, what I do, I go to composition and I say that the stream is basically having equal mass of benzene and toluene. So I select a basis and I change from mole fraction to mass fraction. I say that 50% is benzene and 50% is toluene. And now I click on OK. Look here, basically you can see this strip color, it is yellow color. If I say OK, then it becomes a green color. Now the strip color becomes a green color. Now what a software has done before that, can you see the change in the color of the field stream? Previously, the color of this field stream was a sky blue color. Now that color has changed to a dark blue color. Why that color has changed? Color has changed because we have given enough information which is required for stream to do the calculations, and that is why it has done, the software has done all the calculations and it has changed the color of the stream. What calculation software has done? So let us see. 50, 150 and 10,000 is the values which we have put or entered into a software. All the black font values, these values are being calculated by a simulation software. So starting from vapor fraction, so basically this stream is having 0 vapor fraction. It says that the stream is a liquid stream. Then at 10,000 kg per hour flow rate, the molar flow rate in kilomoles per hour is 118.3. What is the standard ideal liquid volume flow rate? So it becomes 11.41. What is the molar enthalpy of the stream? It has calculated. What is the molar entropy of the stream? It is being calculated. What is the heat flow across the stream? It has been calculated. And the liquid volume flow, it has done calculations. Now, guys, what is the time required to do this calculation? If we use a software, then within a fraction of a second, we can do all the calculations. But suppose you will be given in assignment that you calculate molar enthalpy, molar entropy, heat flow, liquid volume flow, molar flow, as well as a vapor fraction manually. Can you imagine the time which you take? I think it will take a lot of time, number one. And number two, there are every possibility that being a human, we may make a mistake while doing this calculation. The software has not done this, only this calculation. go to properties, then look, the software has calculated what is the molecular weight of the stream, what is the molar density of the stream, what is the mass density, what is the actual volume flow, what is the mass enthalpy, what is the mass entropy, what is the heat capacity, molar heat capacity, what is the mass heat capacity. All these values are being calculated by a simulation software. Now suppose you will be given an assignment that you do all the calculations for various thermodynamic properties. What is the time generally you take to do or perform all these calculations? It takes a lot of time. Also, you may make a mistake, but here basically we are using the help of a software, so it becomes very handy and we can do all the calculations very fast. While we discuss regarding the applications of steady-state simulation, the last point which I added is basically to extract the thermodynamic and physical properties. So suppose we do not require simulation software for our problem, but we require the simulation software to get the value of some of the physical and thermodynamic properties. For example, I want a value of a viscosity, or suppose I want a value of a thermal conductivity, or suppose I want a value of a surface tension, or suppose I want a value of a mass density at a prevailing, at a operating temperature and pressure. Then this software becomes very handy. You just simulate one stream and you will get all the values, all the required information, all the thermo and the physical properties which you require with the help of this simulation software. So this is one of the application of this simulation software. Now here basically we have defined a feed stream. Now let us slightly add one cooler into the software. So our feed stream is available at 50 degrees Celsius. If you can see here, the temperature of the feed stream is 50 degrees Celsius and the pressure is 150 kilopascal. Now we add a cooler, and this purpose of this cooler is to reduce the temperature from 50 to 20 degrees Celsius, and for that we need to calculate what is the amount of energy required. So we selected a cooler. If we select cooler, the arrow will be on the upward side, and if we select heater, then you can see that the arrow will be always on the downward side. Downward side means we are adding energy into the system, and that is why it is called as a heater, and we are extracting energy from the system, and that is why the arrow is upward side, which is basically a cooler. So our purpose is to cool down a feed stream from 50 degrees Celsius to 20 degrees Celsius. So we have selected one cooler. We double click on the cooler. So the first page comes is a naming page where we have to give name of a various stream. So what is our inlet stream? Inlet stream is our feed. So we select feed. What is the name of the energy stream? We say that it is a Q cooler. And what is the outlet stream? We write feed out. So we have given a name of the stream, feed inlet, inlet stream named with a feed, the energy stream is named with a Q cooler, and the outlet stream is named with a feed outlet or feed out. Now here the message comes that is unknown delta P. So what is the pressure drop across the cooler? So we go to parameter page and we say that there is no pressure drop. So let's say 0. The next question comes, is the unknown duty. So software has not done a calculation from the duty. So what we do, what we desire is that feed which is available at 50 degrees Celsius, we want to cool down that temperature to 20 degrees Celsius. So we select feed outlet stream and we define its temperature to 20 degrees Celsius. Once we do this, now again you can see the change, the color has been changed, and it has done all the calculations for the outlet stream where the temperature is 20 degrees Celsius. What is the molar flow, mass flow, standard liquid volume flow, as well as what is the value of various properties of this stream. So this all has been calculated by the simulation software. Now our main aim is we want to find out what is the kilocalorie per hour of energy which needs to be discarded from the feed to make it from 50 degrees Celsius here the amount of energy which needs to be extracted from the feed stream, which is available at 50 degrees Celsius, and to reduce the temperature from 50 to 20 degrees Celsius is 1.136 e raised to 5. So basically, this is the amount of energy which we need to extract from the feed stream. There are some handy tools which are also available. For example, if I click on Shift M, then I can get the mass flow rate, which is 10,000 kg per hour. If I click on Shift T, then I can see the temperature, which is inlet is 50 degrees Celsius and outlet is 20 degrees Celsius. The asterisk comes here is basically a user specified, means we have defined this value 50 degrees Celsius and 20 degrees Celsius. If we click on Shift P, P for Punjab, if we click on Shift P, then we can see the pressure values. And if we click on Shift F, then we can get the value of the molar flow across the streams. And again, if we click on Shift N for Nagpur, then we get the name of the stream. This is available with the simulation software. If I click on stream, right click and click on show table, then I can get all the properties of this feed stream on the table. Now, suppose I do not want molar flow, I am more interested in mass flow in the table. Then what I do, I double click on the table. I remove a molar flow and I click on add variable and I type here mass flow. Now, if you see or if you refer to this table contains temperature, pressure, and a mass flow. Suppose along with a mass flow, I also want the mole fraction of benzene and mole fraction of toluene for the feed stream. I double click on the table, I click on add variable, and I select a mass fraction. Master component mass fraction. Benzene and toluene. I say done. Now you can see here. You can see the mass fraction of benzene and what is the mass fraction of toluene in the feed stream. So this is basically the application of simulation software where we can. For example, this feed out which is available at 20 degrees Celsius. Now I want to pump it. So what I will do is get the molar water pellets, pump. Here, basically the pump color right now is red color. Red color says that it is not simulated. It has not done any calculations or it has not satisfied a degree of freedom. So what I will do, I double click on the pump. My inlet to the pump is feed out. The outlet of the pump, we name it as pump out. And the energy stream, I will say Q pump, means the energy of the pump. Now here it comes unknown duty. So what I will do, and again, this color is a sky blue color, which has not done a simulation. So what I will do, I will double click on the pump out stream. And I say from 150 kilopascal, pump pressure or the discharge pressure increases to 500 kilopascal. So the moment I select 500 kilopascal, it has done all the calculations. And now you can see the color of this stream. Also from sky blue becomes a dark blue. It has done all the calculations, and here we can get the kilowatt rating of the shaft power. That is the shaft power for this pump for generating a pressure from 150 kilopascal to a 500 kilopascal is 1.481 kilowatt. So this is basically a kilowatt rating or a HP rating for the shaft power. And once we consider the pump efficiency and motor efficiency, we can calculate what is the size of the motor or what is the kilowatt rating of the motor which is being used for the pump. Also, the feed stream which is available here, feed out stream which is going into a pump, is having a temperature of 20 degrees Celsius. But whenever we compress any liquid, there is slight increase in the temperature, and that is why if you see the outlet temperature of the pump out stream, then it has been increased from 20 degrees Celsius to 20.15 degrees Celsius. Next, what we do in the same flow sheet, we say that now we put a heater. Now we put a heater and we connect the pump out stream with a heater. So we select here pump out. Name of the energy stream, we say that Q heater, and the outlet stream, we name it as a heater out. Now the purpose of this heater is that it should vaporize 50% of the feed. So in a parameter, time being, we say that there is no pressure drop, so we take pressure of delta P as a 0. And in a outlet stream, we say that the 50% from 100% liquid, it should generate 50% vapor. So now it has done all the calculations for generating 50% vapor at 500 kilopascal. Basically, the temperature required is 159.3 degrees Celsius. And at 159.3 degrees Celsius, 50% is the vapor and 50% is the liquid. So here you can see the vapor phase and you can see the liquid phase. And if you go to properties, then it calculates properties for the vapor phase as well as properties for the liquid phase. For example, if it is a density, then the liquid is always having higher density compared to vapor. So at 159 degrees Celsius, the liquid density, the vapor density is 12.92 and the liquid density is 722.1 kg per meter. So all these calculations so far which we have done are just by clicking a button and a satisfying degree of freedom. Now here we are getting a two-phase mixture where 50% is liquid and 50% is vapor. Next, what we do, vapor. Now we put one separator. So we select here one separator from the model palettes and we put it on the screen. So basically the heater outlet stream is having 50% vapor and 50% liquid. When this heater out enter into a separator, the vapor having lower density, it will travel up and the vapor is collected from the top, and the liquid which is heavier will travel downward and we can collect liquid from the bottom. So we double click on the separator. We say that our inlet stream is heater out. The vapor outlet stream, we name it as a vapor out. And the liquid outlet stream, we name it as a liquid out. And when we do this, here it becomes okay. So now if you refer to the vapor out stream, it is 100% vapor, having exactly half of the flow which is passing in the vapor phase, and here we are getting the composition of benzene and toluene in the vapor phase. So basically, when you look at the mass fraction, then the feed mass fraction is, if you recall, it is 50% benzene, 50% toluene. But when it comes to the vapor phase, benzene is having a lower boiling point, so we are getting more benzene mole fraction in the vapor, that is 57.96%, and less toluene in the vapor, that is 42.4% toluene. Similarly, if you look at the liquid phase of the separator, if we go to composition and instead of a mole fraction, if we take a mass fraction, then in a liquid fraction, in a liquid phase, toluene is having higher point, so we are getting high amount of toluene in the liquid phase compared to benzene. In this case, toluene is 57.75% and benzene is 42.25%. Now look at the complexity of the problem and look at how fast the software is calculating and how accurately the software is calculating. So basically, this is the main application of this simulation software to design, to carry out material flow information or to extract a material flow information and to carry out energy flow information, energy balance in the plant. We are using such kind of a simulation software. So we can do many more unit operations in this simulation software, but because of the time is limited, so I restrict my session here. So now if you have any questions, then we can have a discussion on the question answer session.
Audience are requested to drop in their queries in the Q&A box or chat box, if any. So it was amazing. The complex situations, can be eased with this software.
I think all the questions are answered live because during the presentation itself, they were answered.
Yes, sir.
Right. So
it's time now to have concluding remarks from Vyas sir and reflections from
Sir,
Vinod.
I would like to raise one small question. Sir, thermodynamics property which we choose. So many participants are actually from first year, maybe second year, so they might not know. So if you can enlighten on that, how to choose thermodynamic property, then it would be helpful.
Okay, like for thermodynamic property selection, property model selection, basically it requires entire 1.5 or 2 hour session. But what we do, if there is a non-ideality which is present in the vapor phase, then generally we select equation of state model. That is starting from ideal gas law to Van der Waals equation to Redlich-Kwong equation to Sauvé-Redlich-Kwong equation to Peng-Robinson equation to Benedict-Webb equation to Kabari-Denner equation. These all are equation of state models which predicts non-ideality in the vapor phase. If non-ideality which is present in the liquid phase or a solution phase, then generally we use activity coefficient model, which starts from Margulis equation to Van Laar equation to Wilson equation to NRTL equation to Unipeck equation to Unipeck equation. These all are basically activity coefficient model. So depending upon which kind of a component we are selecting, we have to select appropriate fuel package. If we make a mistake in selecting a appropriate fuel package, believe me, though we design the entire plant, that plant will never run at a desired specification. So we have to be very, very cautious while we select appropriate type of a fuel package.
Okay, thank you, sir.
It's time now to have concluding remarks from Dr. Vyas.
yes, thank you, Namrata ma'am. And I think it was very wonderful session. And I refresh all my memories with the ICs and S-Pen Plus. That बहुत अच्छा लगा. मतलब I'm very happy to see that yes, I'm back to the academics. I could see all the material balance and flow sheets and everything again on the simulation software. In fact, at Nirma, we learned the same software at the time of Ronak Soni only, and later on with Milind Joshipura. So it was a wonderful, and I think Ronak has use such kind of software at Tata Honeywell also in Pune. So I wish that student must learn such kind of software whenever they get the chance and can enrich their CV, and at the same time then they can accelerate their chances of employment. As I said earlier, all the IT companies are looking for such good students, such good employees, those who are excellent in simulation. And the future is simulation only, considering the automation in the industry. This is the only future. You will be replaced by the automation system and you have to control it. And bottleneck issues, you have to resolve using all these things. So there are two opportunities. Number one, you have such skill to use Aspen Plus, HiSys, HTML, HDRI kind of the software. And second skill, to modify such kind of software as per the custom requirement. Because these softwares are not built overnight. It took almost more than 10 years to get it developed. Then only we are using such kind of black box kind of the software. It took almost more than 10 years. And you will be surprised that this software is developed by the academicians only, not by the industry. Later on, it came to the industry. It was developed by the academician only. So we can expect the same thing from the young faculty members because they are more inclined towards such software and computer era compared to the people like us of second generation or third generation now I can say. So I wish they will use it. Spark is already given by the Ronak Soni. They should take it to the higher level and they should use this knowledge in benefit of all the industry and for their career also. Thank you very much, Soni, for such a lovely interactive kind of webinar. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Vyasa, for sharing us the key for survival in chemical industry and for the job prospects with our students and participants. Over to Abhinand, sir, if he has anything to say.
No, it was a wonderful presentation and aptly said by Yas sir that this is a software which is must for any chemical engineer, specifically he is in a process plant. He is definitely required to go through it. For somebody like, research in new molecules, there are software like Cabotics and others which finds you new molecules and other things. So today is a world where we have to gel ourselves with the software, learn the algo part of it, learn the chemistry part of it, and develop the right product. And that's where, you are generating your own value addition. And that's what the industry is required. And thanks to Ronak Bhai for taking through the right demo of things where our students will take it forward and they will generate their own value by doing more demo. Thank you.
Thank you, Abhinand sir, for your views. Now it's time to wrap up with a vote of thanks. And for that, I invite Dr. Alok Tripathi. Sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Good evening to one and all. I'll take this golden opportunity to thank Mr. Ronak Soni, DGM, Zeppelin, Vadodara, for giving his valuable time on GUJCO sponsored webinar titled Introduction to Simulation Software in Chemical Industry. I extend my gratitude to our provost, Dr. J.S. Yadav sir, Dean, School of Engineering, Professor A.P. Vyas sir, and Head of Humanities Department, Professor Namrata Bajaj ma'am. I would like to thank Mr. Abhinand Pandya sir, our project head, and I would like to thank my colleague faculty member, Dr. Siddhant Patel, Assistant Professor, Department of Chemical Engineering. And I'm thankful to all the participants and to all the IU team members for their continuous support and motivation. Thank you. And thank you once again to all panelists and participants. And for the participants, the feedback link has been already shared and you can give your feedback. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Alok. We wish you safety, health, and happiness.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Soni.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Soni, sir.